Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The topic of today is nose. Now look, nose is the organ of respiration and olfaction, that is smell. For the same reason, it because it respiration is done in the atmosphere and smell is also from the air, it is being projected from the nose anteriorly, from the face anteriorly. The nose is being projected from the face anteriorly. Okay, now the nose is separated from the mouth by this hard palate, which is forming the roof of the oral cavity and the floor of the nasal cavity. So this hard palate forming the roof of the oral cavity and the floor of the nasal cavity separate the oral cavity and the nasal cavity from one another. Posteriorly, you look over here, this nasal cavity opens in this part of the pharynx, which is called as oropharynx, nasopharynx. The nasal cavity opens into the nasopharynx. Then you can see this hard bone, this is hard palate. And then this soft flap, which is called as soft palate. And this hard palate and soft palate, it is the boundary between this oral cavity and this nasal cavity. And this oral cavity, that is look between the two lips, it opens into the oropharynx. So the food reaches from the oral cavity into the oropharynx, and the air passes from the nose into the nasopharynx. The nasopharynx and the oropharynx, they are separated from one another by this soft palate. And it's like that when the food is passing from the oral cavity into the esophagus, this soft palate, it elevates upward and shut down this respiration or nasopharynx. While when the air is passing from this nasal cavity to the nasopharynx and then to the trachea, then the soft palate fall down and shut down this oral cavity so that the air passes easily into the trachea. Okay, then the nose, you look at the nose, it consists of the root where it becomes, this part is the root of the nose, where it becomes continuous with the forehead. And then this part is the tip of the nose. And laterally, each nose you can see is having the lateral wall, this one, and this lateral wall ascends upward from this side and from this side, and it forms this part, this called as dorsum of the nose. And out of the dorsum, this part of the nose, that is being called as bridge of the nose. This is bridge of the nose, and this total is dorsum, and this is tip. And anteriorly, you can see the two nasal openings are anterior nares. Two nasal openings are anterior nares. And laterally, this dilated part is being called as ella of the nose. So when you look at the nose from outside, you can see the ella, you can see the tip, you can see the anterior nares or anterior nasal aperture, and you can see this bridge of the nose where it becomes continuous with the forehead. Then, the skin over the nose in the upper part, in this part, it is thin and mobile over the nasal bones. While in this lower part, the skin is very thick over the ella and over the tip. The skin is thick and tightly adherent. It is not mobile over here. It is because of this reason that the thick, tightly adherent skin, if there is bile in the nose, it is very painful because there is no space for the bile to be accommodated in this area. Okay, then some muscles are acting on the nose, which we have already done in the muscle of facial expression, that is the compressor nares and the dilator nares and procerus and levator labiae superioris and lake nasi. These muscles of the nose we have already discussed in the muscle of facial expression. And then the skin of the nose over here, it is being supplied by this infratrochlear and infraorbital nerves, branches of the trigeminal nerve and some branches of the superior the ophthalmic. In this way, the nose is being, skin of the nose is being supplied by branches from over here, from the ophthalmic region, from the trigeminal nerve, infraorbital, infratrochlear. Okay, then you look at the nose, the framework of the nose, or the bony framework of the nose, it is not bony all, but it is bony and cartilaginous both. And you look over here in the upper part, in the bridge of the nose, this bone, these are the two nasal bones which articulate with one another in the midline, and it forms the bridge of the nose. Above this bone, this nasal bone articulate with this frontal bone, and you can call this part of the frontal bone as the maxillary process of the frontal bone, and posteriorly or below it articulate with the maxilla, which is being called as frontal process of the maxilla. So over here it is being formed by the nasal bones, frontal process of the maxilla, and maxillary process of the frontal bone. And then below that, this part is cartilaginous. This part is cartilaginous. That's why not present over here in this bony skull. And it consists of the two lateral cartilages, and then in the midline, this septal cartilage. The two lateral cartilages which supports the illa, and the septal cartilage which support over here the dorsum. And what happens that from one side this iliac cartilage and another side this cartilage, between the two is the gap, and the gap is being filled by this septal cartilage in the midline. And then more inferiorly over here, at this area, there is no cartilage, but the cartilage is being connected to the maxilla by a fibrofatty tissue. So over here is fibrofatous tissue, and over here is the iliac cartilages or lateral cartilages, and over here is the septal cartilage, and over here are the bones. This is actually the framework of the nose which support the nose. If any of these, for example, if there is fraction of nasal bone, depressed fraction, then the nose become depressed or flattened out. Alright. Now, the nose, I told you, it is an organ of respiration and olfaction. That's why the interior of the nose, it is being lined by a respiratory mucosa as well as the olfactory mucosa. And olfactory nerves are being present over here. And it is having abundance of the glands. When the air passes through the nose to go into the lungs, before that the air is being humidified, the air is being warmed up so that the very cold air do not reach to the lungs. And then the lung, there are the cilia and the hairs which prevents the particles to go into the lungs through the nose, and this is the air is being cleaned, warmed and humidified before it reaches into the lungs. Okay, then when you look the cavity of the nose, it extends from the anterior nasal aperture to the posterior nasal aperture. Look, this is the anterior nasal aperture being bounded by ella on each side, and then you pass it over here. This is the posterior nasal aperture, these ones which are also called as choana. Anterior nasal aperture are nares, and posterior nasal aperture are choana, which is being bounded over here by this medullary guide, two medullary guide plates on one side, and on another side by this perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone and the vomer bone. and the vomer bone. Okay. So in this way, the cavity extends from the anterior nasal aperture to the posterior nasal aperture, which are being called as choana. And the cavity of the nose is being divided into two by this nasal septum. This one, or you can see this one, or this one. Look, this is the nasal septum, which separate the nasal septum, which separate the nasal cavity into two right and left nasal cavities. The boundaries of the nasal cavity are, number one, you can see it consists of the roof, it consists of the floor, and it consists of this one lateral wall, this another lateral wall, and this medial septum, which separate the two. And this medial septum is the medial wall for each nose, that is for right and left nose. Okay, now let us describe the boundaries separately. First, we describe the medial wall of the nose, which is also called as septum of the nose. The medial wall or septum of the nose, this is the medial wall or septum of the nose, and you look at your own nose, it is being covered by mucosa on this side as well as on this side. On both sides, it is being covered by mucosa, and between the mucosa there are cartilages and bones which forms the septum or the medial wall. Now the bones, the cartilages and bones which take part in the formation of the nasal septum are, look, most anteriorly over here in the nasal septum, you can see this is septal cartilage. Posteriorly, the septal cartilage, it articulates with this perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone and vomer bone. This septal cartilage, this perpendicular plate of ethmoid and this vomer bone, and both this vomer and perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone, it articulates posteriorly with the body of this sphenoid bone. And then inferiorly, some contribution is being done, you can see, from this small piece incisive process of incisive crest of the maxilla, and then the nasal crest of the maxilla, this small piece, and the nasal crest of the palatine bone. This also contributes to the formation of the medial wall or septum. In this way, the medial wall or septum is being formed, you can see, by septal cartilage, by perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone, by vomer bone, body or rostrum of the sphenoid bone, and then incisive crest of the maxilla, and then the nasal crest of the maxilla and nasal crest of the palatine bone. Then you can see over here the cartilage is being shed off. Cartilage is not went over here, but you can see this perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone, this upper one, this one, and this vomer bone. This is the vomer bone. Look, this is vomer bone and perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone. And in the midline over here, a small contribution, you can say, maybe by this union point of this suture between the two nasal bones over here, you can say it also contributes into the formation of the medial wall or septum. Now note the point, the septum is exactly at the midline and it is straight and perpendicular, being situated in a sagittal plane inside the nose. Now if due to some reason, for example, especially due to trauma and in the childhood, this nasal septum may become deviated to one side, right or left. If it is deviated, then it is called a deflected nasal septum, and it is a disease. We call it as DNS, deflected nasal septum, due to which the nose becomes very sensitive and the one gets repeatedly, the rhinitis, because the nose has become sensitive. And then you do an operation which we call it a submucosal resection or SMR to make it straight or correct. Secondly, the face is richly supplied with the blood, and then the nose is more richly supplied with the blood, and then the septum is more richly supplied with the blood. And you look over here at this most anterior inferior part of the nose. At this most anterior inferior part of the nose, you can see at this area, there is the anastomosis between the labial branch, superior labial branch of the facial artery, and then the sphenopalatine and greater palatine, and then the anterior ethmoidal, the superior labial branch of facial artery, and then the sphenopalatine, and then the greater palatine. These arteries anastomose over here, and this anterior inferior part of the septum of the nose, and this area bleeds much more even with a small touch. And this is being called as Little's area. And the anastomosis, the over here is anastomosis, and this little area bleed much even with a small prick. Okay, all right, this is the medial wall. Then you come to the floor, and look, I told you the floor of the nose is the roof of the mouth, or the mouth oral cavity, and you can see these 4 plates. 1, 2, 3, 4 plates. This is called as palatine process of the maxilla, from the maxillary palatine process, and this is maxillary process of palatine bone. These unite with one another in the midline, and over here a suture, and these 4 plates, they form what is called as hard palate and separate the nasal cavity from the oral cavity, and this is the floor of the nose and the roof of the oral cavity. And behind that, then there is the soft palate. Behind this, over here is the soft palate, which acts like a policeman at a crossroad of the oropharynx and nasopharynx, either allowing the air cavity, the air passage, and shut down the food passage, or to close the food passage and open the air passage. This is that the soft palate then acts as a policeman over there. So it is much wider over here. And look, this hard palate separates the 2 cavities with one another. That's why the chewing process of the food go very easily without interfering with the nasal cavity, But during swallowing, then you have to shut down the breathing. Alright, then you would have seen some children having a cleft in this hard palate, which we call as cleft palate. And the problem with that is then when the child is chewing or sucking the milk comes out through the nose upwards, because from the upper side there is no hard palate. That's why very difficulty becomes in sucking the milk. And then you have to do the operation to repair the cleft palate, which is actually the floor of the nasal cavity and the roof of the oral cavity. And then you come to the roof. Look, this is the roof. Look, this one, look, this is all roof. And the roof is being formed over here. You can see by this cribriform plate of ethmoid bone, from which the affected nerves comes from the nasal cavity into the cranial cavity. So the roof is being formed by the cribriform plate of ethmoid bone, and then by this body of the sphenoid bone, and then more anteriorly, you look over here by this small nasal spine of the frontal bone. So, by this body of sphenoid bone, cribriform plate of ethmoid bone, and then this small piece, nasal spine of sphenoid bone, and then the nasal bone, and then the nasal bone, and then by this septal cartilage, and then by the major alar cartilage. This roof is being formed like this by the body of sphenoid bone, and then cruciform part of the ethmoid bone, and then the frontal bone, and then the nasal bone, and then the lateral parts of the septal cartilage, and then the major alar cartilage. This forms the roof. Look, and then posteriorly you can see over here this ella of the vomer bone may also contribute into the roof. In this way, we describe the boundaries as the roof, the floor, and the medial wall and the lateral wall. And then the lateral wall we will discuss in the next lecture. Okay, thank you very much.